I found this antique dresser last August for only $50 and absolutely fell in love with it, so I knew I had to restore it back to what it was. There was one big piece of wood detailing missing, along with two of the original drawer pulls and some chipping veneer, but overall it actually wasn't in bad condition at all. I began sanding the top, but then realized the chipping veneer that was there was actually too noticeable, so I could either patch it with Bondo and cover it with paint, or I could completely remove the veneer, which is what I chose to do since I knew it was solid wood underneath. After trying to pry it off at the scraper and failing, I decided to remove the veneer by placing really wet towels on the top and letting it sit overnight. So, good night, good morning! The veneer was now wet enough that it basically came right up. So after removing the veneer, I sanded down the exposed wood to get all of the dried glue and stuff off. And then I tried stripping, and if you know me, you know that I absolutely hate stripping because number one, I am OCD and I do not like using any sort of chemicals. And number two, because I absolutely do not have the patience to wait for a piece to dry. But I did use Stripwell's QCS, and since it has far less harsh chemicals, I did feel better about that. However, since I rarely go through the process of stripping, I didn't really work that hard to get the stain off, and I guess I expected the stripper to kind of work like magic. So naturally, it was still there when I was all done. So I did have to go back through and do it all again, but properly this time. That means that I went in with a superfine grade steel wool pad, a wet rag, and then a tack cloth to clean it all up. And yeah, that worked. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I probably could have gotten more stain off of it if I did it one more time or hand sanded the details, but ain't nobody got time for that. And I like the look of it since it has a little bit more depth and age to it anyway, so. After literally months of trying to find these two missing drawer pulls, I was able to find them and use Brasso to clean them. The ones I bought weren't too bad, but I didn't want them to feel excluded from the others, so I made them and gave them a nice scrub too. And look how much better they look. Then I sealed the piece with 2 coats of General Finishes Satin water-based top coat. Going over the details, I found that the best way to apply the sealant without it being too thick was to brush it on with my zebra round brush, and then using the brush to go back through the details and pick up any excess sealant that was left behind. Then I put the dresser into my room, and this is how it looks. Isn't it pretty? I know I never replaced that missing piece of wood or patched some of that chipping veneer, but since I'm not a master woodworker quite yet, I felt I couldn't properly fix it without it being super noticeable. So at times, I felt the best thing to do was nothing. Plus, as I always say, I think its imperfections make it beautiful and add to its story, so I don't mind that it has flaws, and I actually quite prefer it. Plus, Maddie likes it too, so that definitely helps. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and follow me for more fun furniture flips and revitalizations.